I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kamen Riders. We are back. I'm your host. My name is Josh, joined as always by my good friend Toby. What's up, Toby?
Not much. How's it going, Josh?
It's going well. We're gearing up for a massive snowstorm here currently this week, which I'm not looking forward to personally.
Well, see, now that you're an adult, you have to do the things like shovel outside and everything. So
It's terrible. Yeah.
It adds layers to the amount of bullshit that comes with the storms.
Even as a child, I wasn't a huge fan of snow. Like, yes, I might get out of school, but like it wasn't like I didn't like playing outside. I was cold. But there were some good parts, like going on sledding and stuff. But like, as soon as I could drive and it became an inconvenience to have to like drive in snow and stuff, I instantly hated snow from then on. I'm not into it. It's always just like a hassle. There's things you have to do. You got to go shovel the sidewalks and stuff. Because even if you don't leave, Toby, you have sidewalks in front of your house probably. You got to go clear those off so people can walk by, so you're not the jerk in the neighborhood who didn't clear off their sidewalks at all.
Not even that, but when you're a responsible homeowner, then if anyone gets hurt on your property, then that's how you get lawsuited.
Yeah.
So obviously the best move is always to make everything as serviceable as possible.
Exactly. I'm definitely an old man now, because I'm always wishing that like neighbor kids will come over and offer to shovel things for cash. That's always the dream. That's happened a few times, and it's always been like, yes, please do it.
Well, see, like I always had the thing where I always remotely debate like my neighbors across the street from me. The two that actually live like straight across are both older. So I always debate, like, do I offer to go over and shovel?
Oh, yeah.
But then I say to myself, like, I'm very old and I know they have snowblowers. Like, I'm saying I'm old at 39 and they're probably like 60 or 70. And I'm like, I'm gonna blow my back out. I'm gonna fall in the driveway. I'm gonna do something horrible. It's just safer for me to stay over here and hope everything works out okay for them.
Yeah, if you had like a teenager that you could send over, that would be really the sweet spot, right? Like I got this 15-year-old who can shovel all day long.
He's been on the damn computer all day. Get him outside.
Yeah, get this kid outside. Get him shoveling the old man's driveway. But yeah, I feel like you're of an age where you can not do that and not feel guilt at this point.
Well, the thing too is like I'm still bitter from when I was at my old house still. When I had new neighbors move across the street, I had this really crappy. Actually, I still have it, like an electric snowblower. So you have to have like the power cable running out of the house, or at least my house used to not have external outlets. So I have to run the freaking extension cable from the inside of the house across the driveway and like not run it over and shit. So the new neighbors moved in and he was just outside shoveling and looking miserable because there was a lot of snow. So I was like, I'll be neighborly. I'll do the right thing and let him borrow it when they first moved in during like the first big snowstorm. And then past that point, like they still barely talked to me and like I couldn't even get like a wave. And then we had like another huge snowstorm like years later, or maybe it was maybe the next year, but they bought a gas snowblower, which takes like 30 seconds to do and doesn't really involve manual labor. So like I'd be outside at that point, like struggling trying to shovel or with my crappy electric one. And they'd walk outside, like gas snowblow their own shit real quick and just walk back in the house. So I would get so goddamn mad and be like, why the fuck did I help these people? So then ever since then, I think I'm bitter and jaded on the inside a little bit of I'm not helping anybody anymore because no one helped me.
That's a real villain origin story for you. Yeah.
One of many.
Yeah. So we live in the suburbs. We have a yard, but like we don't have that much room to store things like large things like snowblowers and stuff. We certainly don't have like outbuildings and stuff, but my parents live out in the country. Like my dad has like a giant barn and like, it's got a big tractor in the barn and like room for all this crap. So a couple years ago, he had this old snowblower that he'd been using around his house, but then he gets this tractor where he can push snow. So he decides that I need the snowblower at my house.
There you go. Well, that's
And it's
nice at
like,
least.
in theory, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll take it. We get it up here, and it's huge, right? It takes up, it's like it's gas powered. In theory, it takes up like half our garage. It feels like it feels like, especially at our previous house, it felt like we couldn't have the snowblower and like the cars in the garage at the same time. It was like
Oh,
one
that
or
kind
the
of thing.
other thing.
Okay.
So it was this huge big thing you always had to like manhandle around the garage to move things, and it snows like pretty infrequently here. Like it snows once in a while, but like the extent to which it snows when you need a snowblower is pretty infrequent. So the first time it actually did snow, where there was a ton of snow, and I'm like, oh, good thing we have a snowblower. I'm like, I'm excited we can actually use it. We get it out, we try to start it, it won't start. We try for like an hour to get this dumb thing to start, can't figure it out. So we have to shovel by hand that time. And then like we try to sort it out once it's warmer and it's not snowy, still can't figure this thing out. So then this is like this thing of like, okay, so now do we have to like pay to get this thing fixed? What are we gonna do? Are we gonna keep storing it and just like ignore it? um so yeah, so we ended up giving it back. It's like,
So,
why don't you take this back? Because we're not going to actually like spend the time and money to make it work. So
and
that's
that's
why.
why that's why I always hated. That's why I don't have anything that's like that kind of stuff that involves gas and motors, because that's
Yes.
a lot of movable braking parts that I am not handy enough to know what to do in these sorts of emergencies. So that's why I don't use it as much anymore. But I have a crappy like electric push mower. I have a crappy electric weed whacker, and my crappy electric snowblower, because I know that all I'm about to do is plug it into the wall, and
Yeah.
as long as juice is coming out of the wall, that son of a bitch is starting.
Yeah, especially like when like you said, when it's gas and it's something that you don't use constantly year round. So especially the snowblower, where it's like, oh cool, we haven't started this thing for like, 10 months, and it's apparently had like bad gas sitting in it, and who knows, what's going on. Yeah. That stuff is just a nightmare. Yeah, we had to like essentially rebuild our push mower a while back, just like, and that's a fairly simple engine compared to others, but it's just like laying on the ground outside in the driveway, just like parts of this thing strewn everywhere, having no idea what we're doing. Like, yeah, this doesn't feel worth it. But yeah, it's I'm with you, just like electric all the way seems like the way to go. But anyway, more homeownership talk. I feel like we always head down the homeownership route.
See, and that's the thing that like everyone gets all excited and they're like, I'm gonna buy a house. Then if I don't have an apartment, I can do my own things and it's so much easier and all this other bullshit. But they're all just huge money sinks and there's always something wrong, which is why Josh and I can always have these conversations every week or so, because there's usually always something wrong. Something's always broken or needs to be fixed, or like you were saying last time, like you fix one thing but that breaks two more, and
Yeah.
there's no winning. There's truly no winning.
After we had that conversation last time, we're like, you and I were, yeah, just like lamenting homeownership. And it was like the very next day at work, I was talking to a friend at work, and I think I talked her out of looking for a house, or at least I like I definitely like made her worried about it, because
This is a
she
nightmare.
kind of, yeah, it was like, oh, how's it going or something, like vaguely the house topic came up. So I was already like fired up about it from talking to you. So I'm just like, oh, it's terrible. Like homeownership is awful. It's always more expensive than you think. I was like ranting about it. I get to the end of my rant and she's like, um, so I started looking for a house. I'm
Thank you
like,
for
oh
all this
no,
information.
it's gonna be great for you. Yeah, it's one of the things. One of those things where like, yeah, it's like it's good to get out of your apartment and buy a house. That's good. It's also terrible. I don't know. It's like having a child. There's good parts and there's really terrible parts.
Do it, I guess.
Yeah, do it if it feels right to you. Toby, we speaking of things that feel right, have received some correspondence
Ooh.
via our new email address. Um, it is cast at commonridersucks.com if anyone else would like to send an email. But our good friend Shade Z from the YouTube comments we talked about previously has sent us an email.
There's
And
probably lots
Shade
of
has
insults in here, isn't there?
probably a lot of insults. Yeah, that seems to be what happens in our YouTube comments.
Or
It's
not,
just
or not
people.
insults. It's more like, "Hey, dummies, why don't you pick up on these things? You talked about it. Why are you so dumb?" Love the internet.
You clearly watched this episode twice. How did you miss this twice? And you know what? Fair play.
Excellent point.
Yeah, watching that back for the third time, it was pretty obvious that we had missed that. But no, this is all good stuff. So Shade writes in and basically is giving us some trivia, which I found to be pretty fun. So
Like
Shade
trivia
says,
question, like trivia questions, or like, "Hey, learn
no,
these things." Trivia.
like learn these things trivia. Like here's interesting things about the show and about the actors in the show that you might not be aware of. And by might not, I mean I know that you're not aware of. So Shade says some of the show's concepts resemble Kamen Rider Ryuki's original concepts. Ryuki is about a battle royale that takes place in the mirror world between 13 Kamen Riders fighting to the death to gain a wish. There were rumors that they wanted to include 50 writers in the show with the intention of introducing one writer for each episode, but of course it was scrapped because it would be very difficult to pull off, and at the time, Kamen Rider had just come back from its hiatus, and it was very tight on budget. So yeah, I haven't watched Ryuki, but I knew of the concept. So I knew that they had done like, you know, battle royale adversarial writers previously. And it sounds like it's super close as far as the themes of the two shows go. And that's supposed to
Isn't
be a really good season too.
isn't there? So learning from other internet friends as well, I Geats has a movie coming soon because they all apparently have like 7 movies throughout their seasons. But
The
you saying that word, I think that's what the Geats movie is crossed over with.
Geats movie will be crossed over with Revis.
Oh, that's what
Kamen
it was.
Rider
Okay.
Revis, yeah. Because they always do like they do a movie, I think, with like the previous writer, a sort of standalone movie, a movie with the future writer. Like they kind of like cross over on both sides. I think the movie in the middle is usually like maybe they pair it with the Sentai and stuff like that. That's kind of all the movies. So when we say movie, we really mean like kind of half of a movie because it's always a double feature with the Super Sentai series that's happening at the time.
I gotcha.
So it's like 45 minutes to an hour, and then the Sentai one is the same way. But yeah, I think the upcoming movie for Geats is the one where he's like paired up with Revis, which was the previous season.
So it throws back to a long time ago then. So all the times that we used to do like the Power Ranger stuff, there was always a Kamen Rider, a crossover that we missed every time. Is that what you're telling me, basically?
Like, I mean, there would have been a Kamen Rider movie potentially that featured like the same. Obviously, it's different characters, right? Because Power Rangers like adapting the series and stuff.
I guess
Yeah,
that makes more sense. I guess that's
and I'm not saying it's not like the Sentai and the Kamen Rider are like meeting. Like I'm saying that it's like a double feature type thing.
so they're both just doing their own thing, completely
Often.
separate.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't know if they've ever done like they're in the same world hanging out thing, but I think generally no. It's usually like the Sentai are meeting the future Sentai series and the Kamen Rider is meeting the future Kamen Rider series and stuff like that. But the movie release, I mean, is like a double feature. Like you're buying a ticket to get, I think, both shows at once type deal.
I gotcha.
Because it's
now I'm trying to look
superhero
up-
time.
Because like there's, I guess it's. I'm googling as we talk. Upcoming on Netflix is Kamen Rider 01 Geats, and it seems like its continuity is placed within like 9 different Power Ranger things together.
Oh, 01 and Geats?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that one then. Because 01 is not the most recent season. It's also weird. So we're definitely gonna get corrected on this because I don't know too much about it. But Toei recently started a streaming service. So like in Japan, there is a kind of like Kamen Rider Sentai focused streaming service. And because of that, there's a whole bunch of shows that are exclusive to this streaming service that are like weird spin-off shows of like the Rider and Sentai seasons and weird spin-off movies and like mini series that are focused on like weird random characters that appeared in like one episode of the series and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of weird stuff happening, especially right now, that is coming from that streaming service. I don't know if that's one of them or not, but I do see a lot of stuff that's like, what is this? What am I seeing? And that's usually what it is. It's some weird random show.
So like, because like, so looking at the wiki for the 01 thing. So basically, what I did was I just Googled like Megaforce Kamen Rider crossover film kind of deal,
Mm-hmm.
just because Megaforce is fresh on my mind. But this film has like 5 different shows worth of Kamen Riders and 13 different shows worth of Power Rangers in it. So like
Okay.
whatever this movie is has like all these random Kamen Rider things I don't know, but it has like normal Mighty Morphin Power Rangers people in it. It has some of the Megaforce people in it. It has Ninja Steel and Roar Rangers and all sorts of shit. So this seems like there's some big wild thing we might have to watch in.
That sounds cool. Yeah. So if that is the Megaforce looking suits, that would be Goseiger, Goseiger. That's the Sentai that is adapted from. So it'd be a Goseiger movie, I think.
And I'm looking at the cast list, like all the same people that played all the Rangers that we know are still playing the Rangers in this. So like it has like all the Time Force people with the same actors. It has all the Wild Force people, the same actors. The Mega Force people. Like it literally seems like every Power Ranger ever is in this movie.
Oh, and it has like the Western actors in this.
Yeah. So like,
Oh, I think this might just be an episode of like Power Rangers where they brought a bunch of people back, maybe.
okay, I'll show you this. We can stop pontificating about this because this is gonna completely throw us off. But when we're done, you have to look at this because it has like everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
The other thing about like Rider movies and Sentai movies too is, at least for me, they're often hard to keep up with because like they air. So like you'll see, the posters and stuff for it. You'll get all excited about it. But then it's in theaters in Japan. So like you can't see it until it comes to like DVD release. And that's when people will actually like, rip it and people will subtitle it and all that stuff. So like by the time it actually comes out, you'll have like forgotten about your hype for it. And it'll be very past sort of where it's relevant in the continuity of the show as well.
Perfect.
So it gets confusing, I feel like. So I often like forget the movies exist and stuff. Shade moves on, however, and tells us that the
oh yeah, we're answering an email.
we got a little off topic there. So further trivia: Ace's actor, which is Kan Hideyoshi, he auditioned for the currently airing Sentai show, which is Avataro Sentai Dawn Brothers. And Shade says, I would suggest you guys check it out, by the way. The show is bizarrely awesome. One of the weirdest Sentai shows we've had in years, and I mean that in a good way.
Perfect.
And yeah, I watched like the first like 2 episodes of it. And yes, it's quite weird. I can't even really describe how weird it is, but like instead of just like human looking characters, like they have like the main guy looks like a human, and then like there's like a little like cat guy who's the Black Ranger, and like a super tall like bird lady.
Oh, this sounds wonderful.
It's bizarre. And like screenshots I've seen, because now we're up to like in the 40s of episodes, like the show's almost over. The screenshots and stuff I've seen of what's going on now just looks wild. Like it definitely makes me want to go back and watch it for sure. Shade says, speaking of Dawn Brothers, Keiwa's sister, so Sarah, is actually the yellow Dawn Brothers Ranger's sister in real life. Small world. Interesting.
That's like favoritism or nepotism, whatever.
Nepotism. I think
it gets everywhere, man. It gets everywhere.
I think, and we'll see this kind of with the as the info here goes on, but I think that the sort of tokusatsu actor community seems to be pretty small. I think it's very similar to like soap opera actors, maybe here in the States, of like, you know, they're a different group of actors than maybe that would be doing like movies and stuff.
Okay.
And you'd see them appear in multiple things. Like it's like, I don't know, a different tier.
So maybe more like Broadway and people being in different
Yeah,
Broadway things, more in soap operas. Because I feel like soap operas run for like 35 years, like not even like 35 seasons, like 35 years.
that's true. Yeah, I guess the soap's not right, and there are only like two soap operas left anymore too. So yeah, I think like stage actor versus like TV show actor versus movie actor probably is a good example, because it does seem like, as we're seeing here, like they seem to be related, they seem to know each other, they're in multiple things. That seems to come up a lot.
So
Speaking of
once
which,
you're in for life.
yeah. Speaking of which, Kamen Rider Buffa and Dupin's actors are friends IRL. Before the show started, apparently they went to the same high school together. So there's an example from Shade of the small world.
They just can't get away. Once
Yeah,
you're in, they drag you in. You're always there.
it's like Fast and the Furious, but acting in Toku. Shade says, "Do you remember the Tanuki noodles that Tycoon loves so much? Well, you can buy it because they're selling the red Kasune and green Tanuki instant noodles." And then he links to the actors doing the commercial for that product. I actually posted a GIF that I made from this commercial on my Tumblr, because it's very funny. It's Geats and Kawa just chilling for some noodles. It's great. It makes me really wish that this was a popular show here, so we could just get all that random like advertisement media constantly.
I have to try to
'Cause
find that to order that. And like, is it like fresh food only, or is it like shit I can buy on Amazon and taste test?
I think you'd be able to, like, it would be fine getting to you if you could source it, because it's like ramen. It's like sealed in a container. You're like peeling the top off type deal. It looks like stuff that would last on a shelf for like 10 decades.
Excellent. I'll
So
try
I
to find
think,
that shit then.
yeah, I think you could definitely get it. They were actually running a promotion, which is part of what I posted on Tumblr, um, where like you could win a signed lid from one of the noodle cups that was signed by Neon's actress.
I have I have a friend that would love that.
It's me. I'm the friend. Um, Shade explains that the reason why Geats' Revolve On is so weird is because the toy line, that is for Kamen Rider Geats, does the same thing. And Shade linked a video. So I checked out this like review of this action figure series. So they do multiple action figures for each Kamen Rider series, and there's like the, SH Figuarts, which are like the super high end, like costs like $100 action figure that's like superposable. Then they do like the ones that are more reasonable priced, aimed at actual children. So this is from that, and the gimmick basically is that each figure can come apart kind of diagonally at the waist. So that way, like their top half and their bottom half can be themed around one half of the buckle that they're put on. So the figures kind of split right across the middle of the driver. So each half of the figure can become either like the head and arms or legs. So it works like a transformer. So just like in the show where they do this weird revolve and their arms become their legs and their legs become their arms, you can do that with the figures and then flip them over, and then like, oh, they did the revolve and now they've reversed position. It's very silly and it's very fun.
When they do revolve, this was a question that I was asked multiple times from others, and I don't have a good answer for. So this is actually like a perfect segue into this question. When they do revolve, it kind of like, wouldn't their head come out their butt?
Yeah, for sure.
like how's that? Like how do the logistics work when they do
I'm,
revolve?
I'm
Like
glad you
the head,
asked.
good. The head does some weird roll thing. Like if you actually watch it, the head
Yeah.
like rolls around their back ish. But
So
the
the
logistics, Josh, are very curious.
so that's kind of how the toy works. Like if you watch the transformation that he does in this video, the head sort of gets folded up inside the back, which becomes the butt when you do the transformation. So like as it folds around, they sort of like fold the head inside, yeah, into what becomes the butt. There's really no other way to say that. So the head goes in the butt.
Excellent.
I want to know. We'll talk about this in a second, I guess. Moving on, we'll finish Shade's email here. Um, Shade says that Neon's mom, the actress that plays Neon's mom, also played Director Sophie of the Galactic Union Police in the new Space Sheriff Gavan show, which is part of Toei's Metal Heroes franchise. I haven't watched Space Sheriff Gavan, but again, crossover in actresses there. And then similarly, Neon's father is the actor that played Timefire, who was the Sixth Ranger in Time Ranger, which was the Sentai that was adapted for Power Rangers Time Force. So the evil father figure that we've met now is a former Ranger. So that's kind of cool.
I was kind of expecting you to say he plays like a murderer in some TV show.
Me too.
And
Yeah.
B, we watched a Time Force long ago, but we would have
We-
only seen the American people.
That's true. That's true. And then the Polar Bear Rider from episode 1 of Geats also played the Blue Ranger in Kyoryuger. I've never said these words out loud. I'm realizing now as I'm reading through them.
I love this.
So that show became Power Rangers Dino Charge here in the Power Rangers' verse. But yeah, the Polar Bear guy was a Blue Ranger as well. And then finally, Shade says to clue us in on a Kamen Rider sort of like tradition that's happened, or at least a coincidence. About 40% of the time, some event that has a major impact on the series always happens on Christmas. So there are wild theories apparently going on in the community right now of what that might be. So I guess that's when like big things tend to happen in the shows, is like around the Christmas episode.
So if we see a Christmas episode of Geats, like if we see like a Christmas tree, we should just mentally prepare that day for like, this is gonna be the craziest shit ever.
Strap in, yeah. It means the IRL like Christmas too. Like not necessarily on Christmas in the show, but like the Christmas time episodes that are coming out around Christmas time.
Okay. Well, so like we're recording this on December 20th, so we are remotely due for some sort of insanity.
Yes, exactly.
If legend holds true.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's Shade's email. Shade, thank you very much for the email. Awesome little trivia bits there. It's nice to find some of those things out, and cool to see that toy transformation stuff. I would not have seen that if you hadn't linked that to me, and that was neat to see. So thanks for the email. If anyone else, as I said, wants to send an email, please send those along. We love hearing that stuff. You know, you can send in some fun facts like this. You can send us questions. You can send us strongly worded complaints if you feel you must.
Those are my favorite.
Send those things along to cast@kamenridersucks.com. And so we can jump right into some discussion here.
That's what we're here for.
So you and I watched a little, I guess, a little snippet of a show that we hadn't really watched much of before this. There is basically called the Transformation Course. We wanted to touch on that because we watched that here before Kamen Rider Geats episode 12, because we hadn't checked that out yet, and we heard that it was kind of cool, so we did check it out.
So it's like, I'll call it a 4-minute episode.
Yeah.
So I think the easiest way to talk about this, there's no reason to break it down. I'm just gonna hit you with all my thoughts on it real quick, and then you can do the same.
Explain a little bit of like what it is, I guess, while you're doing that.
Okay, so like we said, I'll call it a 4-minute episode, but basically it's almost like a normal episode, but it doesn't really have any music in the background, doesn't really have any like theatrics going with it. It really seems like it's an infomercial or a commercial, like we're going to sell you these Kamen Rider boost buckles.
Yeah,
and we're going to show you how to use them or how all these toys work, but we're going to use Geats to do it.
exactly. Yeah.
So like it's basically just like very small clips of everyone reintroducing themselves, or I guess if it was came out before the season, it would have been the people kind of introducing themselves. But like it's pretty much like Geats talking to Keiwa and being like, "Hey, so you want to be a rider? I'm a rider. Let me show you how this works." And he's like, "This is my magnum buckle," and like it's pretty much dead quiet, and you just hear him like snap the buckle together, and like he go real slow, like he does like the little magnum spin, like you rotate the gun chamber, but like it kind of works because there's nothing else going on, so you can like calmly hear like the announcer say like magnum buckle, and you hear like all like the actual like moving parts and everything, and it's really cool. But legitimately it just seems like if you're watching like the Home Shopping Network and they had to do 5 minutes of we're selling these Kamen Rider toys, it's what you would expect out of that.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So my memory of watching these for seasons past is that they had a little bit less plot than this one did. Like I was interested because this one actually is like Keiwa going, "What the heck do I do with this driver?" Right? Like it's like, "What is this? I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'm a Kamen Rider. What the heck does that mean? I have this piece of plastic." And then Geats shows up and is like, "Don't worry, I'll show you." And then yeah, goes through all the transformation stuff that you're talking about. And I think in years past, like the ones I've watched, it's been more like just a slow transformation from the main character without really like the I'm doing this because I'm explaining it to someone else. So it was kind of neat that it was like sort of giving an in-universe explanation for how Keiwa instantly knew how to transform. It's because Geats explained it to him.
Yeah, like
uh,
if you were to like timeline it, like the hat all happens in like the Desire Grand Prix, like the lobby
yeah,
hangout room, whatever you call it. So it really seems like it would be the first conversation that they would have actually had. Like Keiwa would have been warped up, and like when he was sitting in like the lobby, like staring at his buckle, like I really don't know what the hell to do with this. And like Geets just like calmly walks up and he's like, "Oh, newbie, let me show you the ropes." And it's just
yeah.
like real dramatic and slow. And so this goes here, and then you say hentai or not hentai, henshin,
Freudian slip.
whatever.
Oh, I think we just got our episode title. um, yeah, it's framed. I'm not sure if it actually like fits like in canon chronologically, but it because like there might be something in the first episode that actually contradicts like that this could have been their first conversation. I don't really recall, but it is framed as their first conversation, basically, like you're saying. That's pretty cool. But it totally is a it is a enticing the children to get the belt to do the transformations and get all the buckles and stuff with it for sure.
Like it's almost like watching like a YouTube video to tie it to like common times. Like you'd send it, like show your kid like, hey, just go watch on YouTube how to play with your brand new toy, and it would like
Yeah,
handle that whole situation.
which is good because these things are complicated. Like a driver, there's a lot that it can do. With like the hooking things on both sides and the spins to revolve and then pressing it again and doing it multiple times, and each different buckle has different gimmicks for how it activates itself. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And the highlight of all of it is at the end, after Geets shows Keiwa how the boost buckle works. The boost buckle fires off as always and almost hits Keiwa in the face.
Perfect,
So
classic.
that was either the first time it happened or it just always happens, and it's just nicely part of the lore.
The boost buckle has been attempting to kill Keiwa since before time. So yeah, that was the transformation course. I was happy that we decided to check that out after kind of skipping over it the first time because it was a good little character work, I think, between both of them too. All right, as far as big show that we watched Kamen Rider Geats episode 12 here for this episode, and we are still in the mansion. We're still in, if you remember, the alternate universe that the Giamato had created, I believe is how they explained it.
We're still playing
And
Resident Evil with all of our favorite people.
exactly, still essentially playing Resident Evil. The episode opens once again with Sumi doing the intro, doing the like very much like previously on
And that's
intro,
why we're here.
which continues to crack me up after you pointed it out that it is just it's in universe, but it's not. It's great. If you remember last time, Hare Ruya win Punk Jack, he kind of got found out by Buffa, right? So this episode kind of starts with him attempting to convince Buffa to sort of ditch Geats and join forces with him. And Buffa initially is like, no, I'm not going to do it. Buffa's civilian, the bus driver, is kind of mad that he won't take that deal because it'll get them to safety. But Buffa's going to have some principles.
It's funny because like we'll call it principles, but it's very much like good bad movie villain, where it's like I could take the easy kill, but I don't want to because I didn't earn it.
Yeah,
it's pretty much like Buffa's like if someone's going to beat Geats, it's going to be me. And I'm sure so I'm not going to team up with somebody else to do it. Like I'm going to do it myself. Go fuck yourself.
That's his character to a T of just like, no, screw you. I'll be doing it myself. Like, it doesn't matter if you're trying to help me. It doesn't matter if you're a good guy or not. This will be earned on my own. Thank you very much. But yeah, he's slowly coming over to the side of the friends. He's about to become a super friend, but he still is very bullheaded as well.
He's still Buffa.
He's still Buffa. The Giamato, of course, break in and start fighting Buffa and Punk Jack. Meanwhile, we cut back to Ace and Neon and their civilians, Kawa included, if you remember. And the old man is also there, of course, supposed to be protecting Kawa, but he collapses. He's still last episode,
he's been dying for a while.
He has been dying for a while. He took some big hits, and things aren't looking good. They're in kind of an interesting area of the mansion. They found like a church area, which I thought was kind of cool. Ace is still working on that password. We talked about it last episode, where they need a secret password to escape from this kind of area, and it has to do with the photos, like the paintings that are spread throughout the mansion.
And last time, as a reminder, Punk Jack was switching the labels on the photos.
Yep.
To cheat to win. Like
what
the bastard
what
he
a
is.
jerk. I like how too it's Ace's job. Like everyone just assumes that Ace is going to figure it out and that it's his responsibility. It doesn't seem like anyone else is even really bothering to try.
Well, especially too, and that's I guess the perk / downfall of the way that he runs his life / game of like, if you're gonna act like you're the boss and you tell everybody, I played this 1,000 times, I'm gonna win no matter what, well, then everyone's gonna turn to you. Like this is his own.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like he has no problem with that though.
No.
he's
he'll figure
very,
it out still.
Yeah, he's very happy to be seen as the leader here. The old man, speaking of being seen as the leader, the old man asks Ace to protect Kawa because he just simply can't fight anymore. So he's given up the ghost. At this point, the Giamato break in. I thought it was kind of funny. Like Ace and Neon like don't transform initially. They like try to fight off the Giamato with like pylons that were standing nearby. So it's just like, no, get back. That was some funny work. But one of the Giamato sort of breaks past Ace and Neon and heads straight for the girl, the girl civilian. And Kawa's there, and you think maybe it's going to be a chance for like Kawa to like stand up and be a hero again. But no, he just sort of stands there, and the little kid jumps in front to try to protect his sister.
like the little badass that he is.
He is, yeah. So he jumps in, protects his sister. Kawa sort of like snaps to at this point, kind of runs in and, starts to save the day and then tells the kid.
He's like, I kind of remember now.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be so useless.
He said, you helped me remember something important. And this is sort of where we get the Kawa redemption arc. So Kawa asks Ace, like, how can I protect everyone? How can I fight? And Ace does this awesome thing where he just like taps his driver and he's like, touch this.
You know what to do.
So of course KY like reaches out, touches it, remembers everything, like everything washes back over him. He knows everything. And instantly the game master calls and says, like, I'd prefer if you refrain from such drastic measures.
If you guys wouldn't do such dumb shit, that'd be cool.
Geets, if you would just go for like 1 second without trying to fuck up my game, please.
What's funny too, because like in general, since the we don't want Geats to win anymore vibe, like the game master's been playing like fast and loose with the rules,
Oh
like
yeah, very.
more so and more so, like as the entire thing goes on. And the best part of when KY touches the buckle and like relearns things, it plays this really weird like dramatic music, and he just like stares off in the distance and it just looks creepy as hell to me. Like that was like my takeaway, where it's like he just looks, he's like getting high almost, like, oh, this is the good stuff, give it back.
put it back in my brain. Yeah, I'm sure getting rememoried is probably a pretty invasive experience. Speaking of playing fast and loose, though, we get a cool sense of that, I guess, here. So I feel like we really, we know Ace is always sort of one step ahead of everybody, and this was like the first taste of that again here. Kawa pleads to get put back in the game. The game master first says, like, you're just a civilian that needs protecting. And then Ace tells him, like, listen, if this is really a game to save the world, then you have no reason to refuse Kawa's entry back into the game. He says, unless there's something you're not telling us.
He's gonna keep pushing. His angle the rest of the show, I'm sure, is gonna be like, I am gonna figure this shit out.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
It was so clear. Like, obviously he knows, Punk Jack is in the game and he knows Punk Jack's fighting him. So like he clearly, has an idea that probably the game master is a little against him, or the admins are a little against him. But this was the first, it felt like, tipping his hat to, like, there couldn't be more you're not saying, right? Like that can't
You're
be
being okay.
Yeah. The game master says that Kalo, which is apparently the old man's name, has to give up his right to play. If he will do that, then Kawa can rejoin the game. And yeah, that's what happens.
Shockingly.
I thought it was a really cool scene though. So he drops Kawa's buckle, or his driver and everything. And Kawa has to like bolt outside. He sprints and he's like tackling Giamato as he goes, because he can't transform yet until he gets his buckle, but he has to get out there. So that was like a really cool scene of like sprinting past all the enemies in order to get his buckle to be able to transform. I loved that.
Yeah, like he went from, I mean, like obviously times and times ago, he was very weak-willed and I'm just kind of here, and this was like super motivational, like, no, I do care about things. I'm gonna get crazy here.
Yeah. He instantly, like, yeah, going from like, if you remember back in the first episode, it's like, oh no, I can't fight anything, to like, no, put me in this game, and then sprinting outside, tackling Giamato along the way. It's awesome. Yeah, he's still in full hero mode.
So when during this, when they're all like Neon and Geats and all them are starting to henshin up now and get ready to fight to help kill time, I never really noticed it until watching the transformation course thing, and it sticks with me more now since then. They all do, I'll call it like an animal motion.
Yeah.
When they do their henshin. Like Geats' super slow motion, dramatic, dead quiet, no activity one and transformation course. It never really clicked that he's basically making like wolf ears with his fingers before he does his finger snaps.
He does the wolf pack symbol for a second.
Yeah. So I noticed that during the transformation course, and I was like, oh, that's fun. Like I never really noticed. I guess they all do that and snap their fingers. But then when Neon did hers, I realized that she does like cat scratches almost.
Yep.
Like, and at that point I was like, wow, they all do it based on their animal. I never noticed this until now, and this is a fun little tidbit that when they're not fighting and yelling the whole time and dramatic music and everything, like it just seems like it makes sense.
Yeah. It is funny how fast some of the cuts and stuff are in the show. I guess that's kind of any TV, but like when you're someone like me who goes back through the episode and then tries to like take screenshots and stuff of spots that are clear and not motion blurred, it's funny where things in my head stick out as lasting a long time have lasted like actually like 4 or 5 frames. Like it's wild sometimes how quick the action is in a show like this. So yeah, it's easy to miss like little details like that. But I can't picture what uh the the motion is for Kwa's transformation right now.
I can't either. And even going back when they did his, it was more just like I think they just gave him the instant one because it was I got my memory back. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, like let's do it right now. Yeah. He also this is around the time he transforms, and then Buffa's fighting alone. Buffa gets the ninja buckle, like he's like ready to kind of ninja buckle transform, but then it gets knocked out of his hand and over the balcony, and then Kawa like kind of grabs it. So I thought it was a pretty funny way to get the ninja buckle back in Kawa's hand. Just Buffa just drops it. Like oops, oopsie daisy, here it goes over the edge. Kawa makes it back kind of just in time for a big save. And then we noticed when we were outside, Kawa like saw something else on the ground out there. Turns out he had the Magnum buckle, and he gives it back to Ace and says, "Thanks for jogging my memory." So
I know
the
this
the
works better with
bromance
you.
continues.
So in
uh,
general, like I feel like we're pretty far through this episode already. Most of this episode was just mostly them fighting.
yeah,
So we can probably skip through most of the actual fighty stuff. But I did want to at least call out like when KY comes back and gives Geats the buckle and he's like, "Thanks for being a buddy," kind of
I
deal.
loved that. Yeah,
Like their whole fight scene together was one of the when we point out like this is the good CGI and good TV production stuff. Like
yeah,
their almost their whole fight was basically like tag team moves, but they were both moving and doing things at the same time, and it all just looked amazing. It was like just a really cool choreographed fight scene when like K-Wall would flip over Geats, and then Geats would like uppercut the guy, and then
yeah.
K-Wall throws ninja stars, and then Geats like dodges around him to attack people.
Yeah, it was badass. It was amazing. It all is happening inside that church area too. So like they're like silhouetted by the cool stained glass at times as they're jumping around and fighting. Um, it
Looks
it
just like
was
Kingdom Hearts. I agree.
oh god, oh no, what have I done? No, it was cool. Like it was a thing. If I'm gonna show someone like a a reasoning of like why to watch the show for action, like check out the action that's in this show. This would be the sequence I would show people so far. Like it's the I think the coolest thing we've seen this far. Of course, we also get a bunch of like vines dragging Kawa around and stuff. The Rider Giamatos just won't stop. They keep getting back up, and then to kind of further the plot along, I guess. Ace and his young child civilian get separated from the others by vines. So they go off one way and kind of are hiding, sneaking around, and the others are kind of separated. We
And
then cut.
Geats is very good with that little kid.
I
He's like, I
love
got you, little buddy. He's like, we're gonna do this together. I need you just like you need me.
it. Yeah, I love Father Ace
Playing
in
family
his
again.
role.
See, he loves playing family.
He really does. He really does. We cut to Punk Jack. Punk Jack's been scrounging around for some clues. He is currently in this tower that's in this mansion, and he says like, "Hey, we're not the first ones to play this game. Like, there's got to be some clues here." And then Sumi finds kind of this old dusty buckle that she picks up, and she says, "Oh, in fact, it looks like a rider lost their life in this very room." So
Which she probably
that
knows about. I feel like because I feel like she's been the host for quite some time. At least be the vibe.
yeah, she knew exactly where to look at for that buckle. It seemed like, but that was an interesting thing, right? Because Geats doesn't seem to remember this mansion, but they've been here before. They've had battles here before. So that's interesting as far as the timeline goes, I guess. Punk Jack finds a journal. He's like, "Oh, here we go." But Geats kind of swoops in, grabs it before he can pick it up.
And
And
it's
then
like
we
it's
find
not
out,
just like it's not even just like a swoop. Like you think Punk Jack's gonna get it because he's cheating to win, and Geats like rolls over the desk and just like smugly grabs it in the mid roll, and he's like, "That is a good idea. We should read this book. I think I
Yes.
will."
Why don't we? And this is the next scene where it's so clear that Ace is just one step ahead, has figured everything out. Where he reveals that he knows that Punk Jack is in the game on the game master's orders. He knows that the game master wants him out of the game. He's got the whole thing pegged, right? It's completely adversarial now.
Yeah, like their drama has like outranked like the Buffett Geats drama,
Yes.
because like Geats at least like remotely probably likes Buffa, and he's just like, "Come on, dude, like just stop gunning for me all the time." But he like actively seems to dislike Pumpjack,
Oh yeah.
and like they actually have like actual bad blood, it seems.
Baby, now we got bad blood. And why wouldn't you have bad blood with this idiot? I hate Punk Jack. He's the worst. He literally says here, I had to write it down because it was so dumb. He says, the show's called off, but I can still rock you. What? This guy's terrible. um, I was telling my wife, because I randomly talk about Kamen Rider to her when she doesn't want to hear it. That I really like in this show the fact that they will set something up that feels like it's going to be a slow burn, or it'll take a long time to like reveal or have the character figure out. One of them being that the game master is trying to eliminate Ace. I thought that would be this really slow thing that goes for episode after episode, and Ace figures out more and more and more. But like right away here, Ace is like, no, I've got it. The game master hates me. He wants me out, and Punk Jack is his instrument. Like he figures it out instantly. And I feel like this show has done that over and over again, where it sets something up that you think is going to be a huge deal that might span the whole series, and they kind of instantly resolve it so they can set something else even crazier up.
Yeah,
And
like
that's wild that they keep doing that.
I think the last time that we called it out might have been a couple episodes ago. But yeah, like anything that seems like it's going to be like a long-term arc is really only like 2 episodes tops. Like from
Yeah.
the moment you see it, like add 40 minutes of TV show, like in some way, shape, or form, and like it's already solved or addressed or pointed out, where they can just be like, "Yep, we're moving past this now. Let's do the next one."
Yeah, I think the really good example is the identity of the game master, where like my guess early on was like we'll find out in episode 40 who this is, right? Like they'll drag this out the whole series. The very end we'll find out, and that'll be sort of the resolution of the show. But no, we find out super early on, like in the next few episodes, and now even the characters are figuring out who he is probably soon. Like it seems like we're on that path. This is a weird comparison, but it's a little bit like Lost to me, where there are like stacking mysteries, but they constantly give you a carrot, and they teach you something or let you learn something new or let a character learn something new. But like there's always then the next mystery on top of it. Like it seems like that's sort of how it's built. Um, it's very smart and like way smarter written than you would expect a kids TV show to be.
It's an adults TV show. Come on now.
It's more adult than others. Sumi stops Punk Jack and Ace from fighting. She says that attacking other participants isn't allowed, and as the
old school
navigator,
rule.
yeah, as the navigator, I'll stop that. I didn't know she was the navigator. I didn't know that was her official title, but we learned that. Ace proposes that whoever figures out the password first should win. So they're not going to fight each other. They're going to fight each other with their brains, Toby.
That's the most deadliest of battles.
You mentioned it earlier, but Punk Jack had been moving around the cubes that were underneath the photos, and Ace, again, figures that out basically instantly. There's like a mark on the wall that then matches a mark on the cube, but it's out of place now, and he realizes that they need to put it back into place, and he outsmarts Punk Jack with no issues, really.
Wait, like it seemed when they showed it last episode, it seemed like he just took his hand and like just pulled the little thing out and then put it back in. but like when they show it here, it looks like he like took a knife we didn't see and had to like pry it out of the wall, so it left like a gouge mark in it, and that's why
Yeah,
Geats was like, "Hey, there's a big slash in here now." But that wasn't the vibe I got when it happened the first time. I mean, I guess they
yeah,
have to do it to like make it a workable hot debate, but it seems a little
and
too easy.
and I wasn't sure if that was insinuating that he had like pried it out with a knife, or like he moved it like after a battle had happened in that room or something that had caused the damage. Like, who knows?
Oh yeah, that would definitely work too. I mean,
Because
same
because
vibe, but yeah.
because the Giamato were like swinging giant scythes and stuff, so I could see that happening from a fight. We flash back to Neon and Kawa. Buffa joins up with them. Ace has been kind of giving a speech now at this point. He talks about, we're not going to let the game master get his way. We're players, not pawns. He says we're the ones in control.
he says fuck the system.
He really does. And during his big, we are we are Sparta speech that he's giving, as he's talking, um, each individual Kamen Rider is obtaining one of the kind of slot machine buckles. So they're all kind of getting them in different ways, but everybody ends up with one.
Real quick before you get too far past it, it
Uh-huh.
happens real quick. So when you go through your screenshots, you can try to find it. When Geats is trying to answer the puzzle, figure out the puzzles, I think it's before he realized that the thing was pulled out. There's a shot where like Pump Jack is behind Geats while Geats is like looking at things and trying to use some logic, and Pump Jack just like giggles in the background, and it's like an amazing little like throwaway shot, but it's just so good where because you can tell he's just like, I hate this clown. I'm just gonna make his life as miserable as possible.
Yeah, he's like peering over his shoulder, just like giddy because he knows he moved the cubes. Punk Jack is yes, he's insufferable. He's one of those, like in wrestling where you have heels and like the whole point is that you're supposed to hate them, and if you hate them, they're doing their job really well. Punk Jack is the perfect heel. I just hate him so much. So everybody gets the slot buckle, and they kind of do a first spin, right? So we get a little look at Buffa comboing Zombie with the beat buckle, which was very funny.
With like
um,
the yeah, like the whole scene, or the whole like next couple minutes of scenes, is all of them keep spinning the slot machines
yeah,
like
and
you
then
would if you're playing slots, and it's just crazy. Like they keep getting, it's basically just like, hey, everyone's getting each other's buckles, and it's just
yeah,
this crazy like constant costume changing, morphing. Everyone's like you said about the toys earlier, like everyone's like half of one rider and half of another, and
and this was the thing that we had messed up last time. We didn't realize with the slot machine buckle that we got rebuffed in the comments about, was that when you spin the buckle, you get a second buckle, like a random buckle. So I believe Ace had gotten the boost buckle. That was like the thing that the slot buckle had given him. So yeah, everybody's kind of spinning, getting random buckles, mixing up sort of what they're getting. At one point, Kawa gets his like original crappy water gun from way
yeah,
back
like
when.
the awesome pipe. Neon gets her stupid propeller again,
Yep.
which for whatever reason, like when everyone had it the first time, it seemed like it would spin more like a helicopter and was like in like a passive thing that just kept going. But when she gets it now, she just like kind of stares at it and just kind of like limply half spins, and she's like, "Well, this is kind of stupid."
Yeah, she's moved on. She's gotten better things since then. And then everyone's kind of re-rolls again. And this time they all get their correct buckle, so like the one that is intended for them, but they already had it. So like Buffa gets zombie again, Kawa gets ninja again, Neon gets the beat buckle again. So everyone has like double of their correct buckle, which I didn't even think about being a possibility, but they're all awesome looking because they have all of the like colored plastic pieces on their top half and their legs. So like for example, like with Kawas, he's just covered in green like the whole way, and he looks like way like kind of beefier and cooler. Like it's a cool look, I think, across the board for everyone.
Well, yeah, and the important thing was, or the takeaway of this was, they all did their dumb spins and they got their random stuff. And then Geats, much like how he got Magnum Boost the first time, was like, "Idiots! I told you the first time. If you believe that you can win, we will win." And as soon as he said it and everyone believed, then everyone got their cool double buckle. So
Yeah.
that was the important takeaway. That Geats was like, "Listen, I'm helping you. Just you have to believe in yourself, and we'll all be fine." Which is like the moral of this whole show,
It's like
mainly.
it's like the heart of the cards in
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh. You just have to know you're gonna draw your blue eyes white dragon, and then you will. It's perfect. Or your, I don't know.
No, that one's good enough.
Kuribo. Yeah. I was trying to think of a slightly lamer card.
Dark Magician, wasn't that one?
Yeah,
There
that's
was
one.
one they had to, well, there was one they had to get like all 5 pieces, or else you couldn't do anything with it. Whatever won that one.
That is Exodia,
Yeah.
right?
See.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
um so yeah, the huge crazy fight like we talked about, awesome stuff with all the boost buckle. The fight kind of ends and we get outside and we're trying to figure out the password now, and we don't have to get into all the details basically, but like they find out that the it's written in Giamato language. Ace had realized that the Giamato have their own language and their own alphabet, so they have to use the notebook that they found up in the tower to sort of do a cipher puzzle, basically, of like, okay, this matches up to this and this matches up to this, and then say the word open in the Giamato language to open the door.
So, mainly led by young Geats himself, the 5-year-old who's the biggest hero of all.
I loved that Geats is like, listen, you're in charge here. like he's got actual adults around, and he's like, nope, it's you got this, handle it.
Well, the
I
crazy
also,
thing is, like, so I think it was right before they get the door open, or it's mid that battle, but they do weird transitions and cuts as Geats is walking towards the door in his like actual outfit. And it's the first I realized, I think most of the outdoors or the whole mansion thing is just CG.
oh really, I didn't notice that. Oh yeah, it is, the ground is CG.
Well, like the one where they're,
Oh
it
yeah,
shows them in their face. Like the mansion looks perfectly fine the entire rest of the time we see him fighting outside. But the one with like Geats, Pumpjack, the little kid, and Sumi walking up.
very CG. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, but it seems like it happened out of nowhere because they were outside in the beginning and
I w-
the building looked like it was there. But like this
yeah,
specific cut and this like walking scene looks hardcore fake for some reason. So I don't
I
know if they just
wonder
like
I
got
wonder if
kicked
they
off the
had like,
property.
yeah, I wonder if they had like one day to film on location, and then they wanted to do this like cleanup shot afterwards. Like, oh, we didn't get the shot of like everyone walking towards the door looking back at the castle. So they probably like, all right, we'll just take one of our stills, from the from the day of shooting. Because they were there on location. You could tell because like the Giamato like walked down those stairs and stuff. Like they were actually physically at that location, at least for a while.
Yeah, and then like so everything past that point, the only physical piece that you ever see again is just the wall with the little passcode thing on the door,
Yeah.
and that looks real. But after they walk away from the castle, they never really cut back to it again in a way where you would think they were still there.
Interesting. Yeah, I bet that's what it was. I bet they had like a very limited amount of time to shoot outside of the castle and then needed more shots. Like, all right, well, we'll CG it, it'll be fine. Well,
Here's-
we finally get the door open, like we said, Toby, and the mission gets cleared. The bus driver now finally, even though he was a perv at the beginning, tries to redeem himself. He says, "I'm gonna get these kids home." Like, okay, weirdo. Like you were the one, you're the one who was hitting on Neon a second ago.
I'm gonna do the
Uh,
right thing.
yeah. The old man, of course, since he gave up his right to play the game, gets eliminated. He says, "Thanks for saving us, Sonny."
You were a good little boy.
I thought it was interesting. So he gives this kind of little speech here. He says, "Being young or not doesn't matter to me anymore. I want to live every day to the fullest." And is like, did he just have a change of heart, or is it because he's lost the game, so he's lost his will to wish for the thing he wrote down, which was to be young?
I feel like you would only know that. Maybe because once, I guess it depends on the way it works, because we know like you can't wish for the same wish again, and we know it breaks your little head
Yep.
when you don't play anymore. But is it like an instant memory wipe, or
That's what
like,
I don't know.
or has he played before? But did he used to be a young rider and he was like, no guys, listen. He's like, I know that once this is over, I'll never want to be young again. So I had my fun. I'm out.
Well, no, he wrote the thing he wrote on his card was to be young. He wanted to be young again. Like, because when we first introduced him, because his card said he wanted to be young, and the other girl who died, who got eliminated, her thing was like, I want to lose 10 pounds and marry an idol. So his was to be young, and then as he's like eliminated from the game, he's like, I don't want to be young anymore. It's stupid.
You kids are crazy.
Yeah, I was just wondering because like it is sort of a thing that he would say, like, like, oh my god, I got to realize the true value of life, and that's really what matters. Like it's a good character arc, but you could also explain it away as him losing the will to wish for the thing that he wrote down, which I thought was an interesting sort of um, double, potential meaning there.
The show always gets you, man. The show always gets you.
We get another interesting interaction with Buffa and Punkjack. Buffa asks Punkjack, like, what exactly does the game master want? Because now, it's sort of revealed that the game master is pulling some strings. And Punkjack says, would you help us if I told you? And Buffa says, like, basically he says, like, well, answer me and then we'll find out. So a bit of a standoff there.
He says, maybe, but you're going to tell me first and then we'll talk about this.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do what you want. You're gonna do what I want because I'm gonna win. In true Buffa fashion. Neon asks if Kawa is wishing for world peace again as he's writing his card out. Kawa says not this time. He's wishing for a world where the dead participants can come back to life instead. It was a really cute moment. Ace kind of laughs and he's like, go big or go home.
You got it, buddy.
It was a real moment of Ace being like, yeah, that's not going to work, but I'm really excited to see how the game master can like worm his way out of it.
Well, and like it's funny too, because I mean, it's kind of a throwback to one of Kawa's first questions in the way in the beginning of the first games,
Yep.
where he was like, but he's like, so when we learned that like retirement versus elimination were two different things, he was like, but they really go away. He's like, I don't know if I like that. Can't we do something about that?
Yeah.
And now that he's new motivated Kawa, he's like, no, we're going to do something about that.
Yep, he can fix it. Yeah, and he's going to. Yeah, it's a cool, like, it's a more directed version of world peace, right? It's like, this is a thing that I know is an injustice that I can solve, and I'm going to.
And I guess not even that. I guess in the scope of like, if he's rationally thinking like there probably are some wishes they can't do. Like I know Geats can't write down like I want to see my mom. Like that's been proven to us by him.
Yeah.
But maybe he's like more realistically, he's like, I probably can't wish for 8 billion people to all get along. That seems a little extreme. But maybe I can wish where this dumb game ends and no one actually dies.
Yeah, maybe it's him like realizing there's some bounds to this, or thinking there might be. we get a funny interaction, which maybe there's a translation issue here, but Kawa tells Ace like, I believe I can win, and Ace kind of smiles and pats him on the shoulder and says, well, I'm still gonna come out on top. And then Sumi goes, gross. So I wonder if whatever Ace said actually was gross, or if Sumi just kind of hates Ace that much. It's like, ugh, this guy.
So I think it's probably that, like the second one, where she's just like so sick of him winning and like him always getting his way and being like, well, it's not going to happen. And I'm going to get my way again, just so you know. And she's just like, almost like, I'll call it like Valley girling it, where she's just like, oh, this fucking boy, I'm so done.
Yeah, I'm so over this dude. I also hate Punkjack, but like it would kind of be okay if Ace wasn't here anymore. She's kind of torn. And then Toby, our show ends with another visit to the greenhouse that's growing the Giamato. We meet the greenhouse guy once again. And basically he tells the Yamato, the world is going to be ours. Now go wreak havoc on the DGP. Dun
Almost
dun
like
dun.
Rita.
Very Rita.
And now, since we said like they usually, I'll call it address things sooner rather than later, I feel like we're probably one episode away from the greenhouse actually becoming like the thing now, so that we
Yeah.
can, so that the show can start addressing it, so they can start working around it and making us go like, oh shit, they swerved us anyway.
Yeah,
But
they
it's hitting
certainly.
the point now where they can't, like the game master little throwaways at the end of the episodes were a couple, and we got his reveal remotely fast, and this is kind of gearing up the same way, it seems like.
Yep. Yeah, they're not letting us forget about the greenhouse revelation. So it's like, okay, you remember this? This was crazy. So yeah, I think you're right. We're probably setting up for that becoming even more of a crazy thing very soon. Because like, yeah, they're really hammering home this point that like this insane dude is growing Giamato. We need to freak out about this.
Someone needs to do something, please.
And I'm really excited about seeing where it goes. So Toby, that wraps up the Resident Evil game. What are your thoughts overall? Was it a good little diversion? Good round?
I think that's it. It was the most like actual enjoyable like game idea they thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm gonna go back to my normal statement of I hope they keep switching games and they have enough different games. Like I know some of the fighting ones are basically the same, but at least remotely different. And I'm sure they can't put the money into the full blown like mansion type games every time. But if they can do like one big game like this or they do like one big mission
One
like
big
this
round.
every like
Yeah,
full game, I'd be okay with that. Because like this would be like something cool to look forward to for them to do again in a couple episodes. Like, hey, this time we're in this location, and it's like more like this other media that you know of, and we're
for
gonna kind
sure.
of like subvert expectations for a little bit, kind of deal.
And I think they have the ability to do a lot more interesting things now, kind of with the Rider Giamato as well. So like the enemies are not as dumb and can do more things, and they can probably like add abilities as needed to the Rider Giamato easier, so they can like pull off more interesting games potentially in the future too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that continues because this one was super fun and so inventive and out there, and it led to some like really crazy fights. So way different than we see a lot of times in Kamen Rider, where it's just like, and now we are fighting in the open civic center, again. So that was
We
cool.
went from tower defense to tower defense, but with flags. To now we're gonna capture the flags. Like
Exactly.
I want less of those and more of like, hey, we're playing a giant puzzle in this giant different location kind of thing.
Right. No, I'm totally with you. So yeah, looking forward to more. Um, yeah, that's going to do it for episode 12, I think, for us and for our discussion. Still continuing to love the show. I think I said when we posted the last episode, like, I don't know how the show keeps getting better every week, but I'm loving it. Yeah, like I said, it's to the point where I am just like randomly telling my wife about it because I need to talk to someone about it when we're not doing our episodes. like in between and be like, this show's insane. I have to tell you what just happened that I just watched. So yeah, super fun. If you want to check out all of our past episodes, of course, this is our 12th episode. You can check out our previous 11 as well. You can find those by going to commonridersucks.com. That's the video playlist of all of our episodes. Or you can search for the audio version in your favorite podcasting app. Just search for The Comment Writers. You can find that there. We're on all the places: Spotify, Anchor, Pocket Casts, all the places. So just do a little search. I think we are moving up the ranks of Kamen Rider shows,
Of
which
course
is
we
good.
are.
Yep. Also, leave a review in those places if you are so inclined. That definitely, I think, helps with being found and having us served up to other people. Tell a friend about the show too. We love when people share the show and tell others about us.
Tell two friends just in case. Your first
Tell
friend
two
might be a
friends.
jerk,
That's right.
but the second friend, that might be the good one.
Here's what it is. You tell two friends. They each tell two friends. and they each tell 2 friends, and then slowly we are an inverted triangle.
We take
Not
over the world.
Not a pyramid. Then eventually each of the friends will pay the friend that got them into it $2, and then it'll work its way back to us, and then genius.
Then we own everything.
And then we've invented multi-level marketing. This is perfect.
All the things. Just created by Josh and I.
Yeah, perfect. You can also find us on the internet when we are not talking about Kamen Rider or recording these shows. Toby, where can the people find you?
On Twitter, you can find me at Life of Tobes, Tobes, and you can find me on YouTube at Tobes Plays.
Of course. Forgot to mention again, send us an email, cast@kamenridersucks.com for those email addresses. You can find me online at Twitter at PrettyDeeceJosh and on Tumblr at PrettyDeeceJosh as well. Both places, same handle. And yeah, so that's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week, hopefully with another exciting episode of Kamen Rider Geats. Until then, have a great week, everybody. See ya.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic